Christine.
Secretary, I'd like to ask, in this kind of operation, since you've had, I think, some weeks or months... Yes, Secretary. In planning an operation of this size, presumably you've had some weeks and months in organizing the planning. Could you tell us whether this sort of operation normally would go, how high would it go for you to get permission to carry out something of this sort? Does it rest with you solely? Do you have to go to the governor? Do you have to go to the chief secretary? Was EXCO involved?
The operation, I think, was probably first mooted 2 or 3 weeks before it was actually carried out. That was the planning period. I took the decision that we should proceed with the operation.
So, can I just...
The question is, did it go to the governor or EXCO?
Yes. Were you the only person involved in the decision and the planning?
No, I mean, I did not do the detailed planning. I mean, that was done by the Correctional Services Department. It was their operation. But I took the decision. I did mention it for information to the Chief Secretary and the Governor, but it did not go to the Executive Council.
Sorry, when you say you briefed them, I mean, did you tell them...
I told them the intention to conduct an operation to remove 1,500 people from Whitehead to High.
The details of your planning as to what you would do to remove...
Not details of planning, no.
Can you, last follow-up, can you confirm that you yourself were out of town during the time of the operation?
No, I was here. I was here when the operation was conducted on 7th of April. I was away for a few days from the evening of the 9th of April to the evening of the 13th, I think.
Howard?
Secretary, one of the organizations that we met just now said that there were no weapons found on the person of any of the Vietnamese boat peoples. But you just now mentioned something about storage in flammables. So we're not quite sure whether there are any dangerous or threatening or weapons found on the site. The other thing is that you just mentioned that your intelligence suggested that there might be trouble brewing or events happening. But again, the same organization claims that informers were removed by the Vietnamese. That's how they put it. They were removed by the Vietnamese beforehand. And therefore, is it a matter of your having intelligence, or were you in a state of having no intelligence of what was going on inside, and therefore only be able to guess what the possibilities were?
Secretary?
There certainly were weapons found in the section on the day, on the 7th of April. And those indeed, I think, were shown to the press by the Commissioner of Correctional Services on the day. I don't, I'm afraid, know the exact circumstances in which those weapons were found, whether they were found on people or in the huts, but there were certainly weapons found on that day. The CSD do obviously always try to maintain a good assessment of the mood in the camps and of intelligence as to what is going on in the camps. And I believe that they have a reasonably good system for doing this, given the different difficulties of language and so forth. I think they have a good idea of what is going on in the camps. And certainly this was their assessment of the situation. As I said in my introduction, I do not believe but they were by any means alone in their assessment of this. If you look at reports that appeared in the press for several weeks, probably ever since about the middle of February, there were many references to other organizations having concern about the tense and volatile situation in Whitehead and warning us that there was likely to be violence. So it was not just the CSD intelligence. I must say I did hear for the first time this suggestion that some kind of informers had been removed from the camp a few days prior to the operation. I'm afraid I have no information on that at the moment. It is something I would have to check up on. I have no information on that now.
Zachary?
多謝主席。保安司先生頭先講咧，就話佢哋事前咧就收到啲情報咧係會遇到即係有反抗啊，有剩啊咁樣。咁所以咧佢哋今次嘅動員咧係1200幾人嘅嚇，警察同埋懲教處人員 去搬1500人，即係幾乎1對1咁滯㗎啦，即係咁同埋咧，佢哋準備咗大量嘅，似乎準備咗大量嘅一啲嘅即係 tear gas 啊，同埋其他嗰啲嘅 pepper fort 啊嗰啲咁嘅 machine 啊，咁佢哋有晒準備㗎啦。咁我想問保安司咧，你哋當日採取行動嘅時候，係咪面對咗你哋預計嘅反抗，同埋即係你哋預計嘅一啲嘅即係船民嗰啲嘅即係武力反抗咧？同埋咧，我想第二個問題就係、當日究竟嗰啲船民係採取乜嘢嘅反抗行動咧？抑或佢哋只係唔想離開呢個第7營房，而你哋咧係想即係解決呢個搬遷嘅行動，所以你哋係發放呢啲嘅催淚彈，而且係發放557枚咁多嘅催淚彈。你覺唔覺得如果佢哋係唔想離開個營房，只係唔想離開個營房，而係冇暴力嘅反抗咧，你發放557個催淚彈係一個過分嘅暴力咧？多謝主席。
Secretary?
Chairman, I said I don't really think that I want to try and pass judgment at this stage on matters which are going to have to be the subject of inquiry, but I'll try to give a general answer to that, bearing in mind that I was not present either, so I am going on reports, not what I saw myself. As I tried to make clear in my statement, we deployed 1,200 people, not to deal with the 1,500 people in Section 7, but to deal with a potential 15,000 people in the whole of Whitehead. In Section 7,
say that the other ones should, I insist that 1 or 2, even 5 or 6 of our staff be there in the middle of things, 3-4 hours after the operation started, could also backfire. We could also be accused by the Vietnamese of being in collaboration with the government. Our presence there could be seen as condoning and legitimizing the government's operation. I'm sure this would have been one of the accusations that would have been leveled against us. I also have no illusions that 1 or 2 or 3 of our field officers would be able to really do very much in the face of 1,200, 1,300 security men doing what they had been ordered to do. So our presence there, whereas we could perhaps monitor things.
人家在里面睡觉而已，然后还在那边打，用抓头发，然后打很多了，还有很多了。那个喷东西，这个。Together with, you forgot them. They both defended for the Vietnamese panel. Second, I think second, after the lawyer.
We were talking with one of the members.
It's not much really. I just say we offer unconditionally. You know, even without our name put in on it. So for any trusted organization to help the refugees, and until they're willing to go, or a third country accept them instead of forced repatriation, causing injuries and damaged reputation to the whole free world. They came to us for protection and refused, and we treat them like animals. This is absolutely uncivilized and unethical for 21st century. And then why when somebody offer help like this? You see, if they go to Vietnam willingly, fine, but they don't. They kill themselves here. So no excuse now.
Have you had any positive responses to your offer?
Yes, 1 or 2, and then always one, and then one from Bahama minister. And then he was out of power until the government, Hong Kong government answered. He's already out of power.
Oh dear.
You know what it's like sometimes bureaucracy.
Yeah, sure.
Bureaucracy take long. And he's out of power. And the government Hong Kong told our party to go back to Parma, get another new letter from new prime minister for a private citizen to see a new prime minister already terribly hard. To see a new one without connection, without relation.